Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 15th of September, year of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motano. What's up? Nikki Chills back in the building, and he just can't stop being cool. NFL Sunday. A lot of good games on. College football slate wasn't great. Watched a lot of college ball this weekend. Not going to dive into that. I don't think really at all. Nothing really of note. Michigan State looked good. They beat up on Youngstown State the way that you would hope. It was a fine slate. Clemson lost. People want Dabo Swinney to get fired. It would be a good day for this nation, and I think would break up a lot of these social tension if Dabo Swinney was unemployed. I think that would be a sort of a healing moment for the United States of America. If Dabo Swinney, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, didn't have a job, something that people are discussing in Death Valley in South Carolina on the campus. No, NFL Sunday, I don't know. What was the game of the week? America's game of the week. Eagles Chiefs. Whoa! Super Bowl rematch in week 2 in Arrowhead. And I gotta tell you, going into the game, I said to my girlfriend, I think the Chiefs are gonna lose, and if they do lose, they're gonna get killed. They didn't. I mean, the Eagles did win the game. Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time in like a decade. So what are the numbers on this? Teams that are 1-1 have made the playoffs 42% of the time, going back to like the early 90s, like 1993. If you're 1-1, you make the playoffs 42% of the time. If you're 0-2, it's like 11% of the time. So mathematically, it would be shocking if Kansas City made it to the playoffs, but it's crazy to think that they're in this hole. But here's the thing: minus the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, when the Chiefs just kind of imploded, it was kind of like the Eagles' first game where it's like, damn, so is the takeaway from this game that the team, that you actually kind of feel better about the team that lost? You know what I mean? Like, we came out of that opening game of the season, Eagles-Cowboys, kind of being like, oh, how about the Cowboys actually hanging in there? And I don't know if CeeDee Lamb caught the ball at the end of the game after this extensive weather delay, whatever. I don't know. The Eagles would have been in position to win the game. I'm sorry, the Cowboys would have been in position to win the game. So I think they were more put together than we thought that they would be, and I think that the defense for the Cowboys looked better than a lot of us thought that it would be, and guys were flying to the ball, and on offense, seemed like the gears were spinning a little bit better than they did at any point last year. And what does this look like when you throw George Pickens into the mix? And it looked pretty decent. And they got Tolbert and obviously CD, and then Turpin. I really like him. I love him as a special teams guy more than anything else. But he's a guy that you got to account for. You kind of came out of that game like, I don't know, how about the Cowboys? They lost the game, but they looked pretty good. Kansas City, I thought it was interesting that for the entire game, it was kind of like, oh, you guys aren't dead. You guys definitely aren't dead. And as a matter of fact, I sent a text to a group chat that I'm in, and I said, hey, I swear to God, Travis Kelce in the last 2 weeks, the first 2 games of the season, has shown more like, oh, okay, you're still alive. You know what I mean? In 2 weeks than he did all of last season. He's made more big plays this year already in 2 games than he did all of last year. That leads you, because like last year when he would catch the ball, he was basically going down where he caught the ball. There's a lot more AC in the R. You know what I mean? We're making it a whole conjunction, junction, what's your function, RAC. There's a lot more rack this year. It's not just R. We added the AC, and it's cool. It's cool to see it from Travis Kelce. I know, people sort of look at him. I don't want to say people look at him like a meme, but people look at him differently because of how involved he is, like, culturally now at this point, and the just this oversaturation of the Chiefs as a whole. It's not just Kelce, it's Mahomes and it's Andy Reid, but there is a unique focus and fixation on Travis Kelce for reasons that we don't need to explain on this show, right? And I don't know. I sort of have always looked past that and have just been like, you are one of the most uniquely talented at your position that has ever played the game. And I think it stunk last year that it seemed obvious that, wow, at some point when it's over, sometimes it's just kind of over. That's how it felt with him like all last year. And I don't know. I think it's kind of been nice to see him return to, not return to form, but you know what I mean. So like that was a real takeaway I was having. It's a very wordy way of saying I just sent a quick text being like, we've seen him make more big plays this year in 2 games than we have all last year. Brother, I swear to God, it was 2 plays later that Travis Kelce catches a pass in the end zone in that, halfway through the fourth quarter, catches a pass in the end zone that he just sort of inexplicably, it just kind of bounces. It just takes a bad bounce off of his hands, off of his chest. Johnny on the spot, who was it on the Eagles defense, that was just in the right place at the right time, and the ball just bounced into his hands. And so now it was a damn near pick 6, and that was essentially the game, right? And so outside of what Kansas City, how they kind of just shot themselves in the foot by the end of this game, and whatever, it just is what it is. They're 0-2, is what it is. I just kind of felt like the takeaway for them was, okay, you guys are, I don't know. I was about to say, you guys are still Kansas City, and you got that. Kansas City would have won that game. You know what I mean? If they were still Kansas City, they would have found a way to win that game. There was a point while the Eagles are trying to drain the clock, right, in the last couple minutes of this game. I tell you what, that Fox broadcast is really starting to turn on the tush push. Boy, if that doesn't get banned, if a year from now the tush push is still allowed in the league, I'll be shocked. Look, it is so tiresome to litigate this. Should we ban the tush push? The truth is, it's an entertainment league and it's a fucking horseshit play to watch. Nobody, if you're not an Eagles fan, you hate watching that play. Like if you're a Bills fan, I don't know, you kind of like it because you can also do it because you have Josh Allen, and they've done it, I don't know, a handful of times. I think maybe the Chargers have done it with Herbert. Like, there are quarterbacks around, not just the NFL, but even in college football at lower levels, where, like, the Eagles sort of opened up this door of, like, hey, here's a thing that you can do. And it's like the one play that is seemingly officiated differently than every other play that happens from scrimmage inside of a football game. Like, 8 penalties will happen on the play, but nothing gets called. It's just kind of like, duh, first down. Well, if you guys, maybe you shouldn't ban it. You should just find a way to stop it. No, you literally can't. There's nothing you can do. You can't stop it. And so I don't know. Again, I do give a shit one way or another. I think it just sucks to watch. It's just not a fun way to watch a game. I'm really not trying to do the fucking tush push thing. It's gonna get banned at some point if it's not this winter / this spring. This summer, this upcoming summer, it's going to get banned at some point, and it just fucking is what it is. But it was at some point during the Eagles doing that in the last couple of minutes of the game that there was like a scrum, and Kansas City thought that they like had possession. And there was kind of a moment where you were like, whoa, did Kansas City just... So, this, again, very wordy way of just trying to make a simple point, which is Kansas City somehow would have come up with that ball. It would have, the voodoo, the refs would have been like, I don't know. On the field, they would have said it was Kansas City's ball, and then the replay, there wouldn't have been anything indisputable to say that it wasn't Kansas City's ball. But there wasn't anything to say that it was, you know what I mean? But because the call on the field, you get what I'm saying? Kansas City of old, it feels like some insane voodoo horseshit would happen, and they would have won that game, but they didn't. And that was sort of the tick. And I'm not trying to do this thing where I in the past, I've made it clear that I don't really like Philadelphia that much. And so I'm not trying to like make this segment about a game that they won about the team that actually lost. No, because to credit Philadelphia, yeah, like even though our takeaways for like these first 2 games for them have actually been more about the teams that they're playing than it is about the Eagles themselves. The Eagles have just kind of done exactly what they needed to do to win the actual game. Like, if you look at, I don't know, Saquon, there's no way he cracked 100 yards. Was he somewhere maybe in the 80s or something? But they were, like, super, just 3 yards at a time. You know what I mean? Like, it was a super grit and grind. That's not really the right way to say it. I don't think you say it's just sort of a Memphis thing. Whatever. He's a super gritty, super grinded out style game. Did Jalen Hurts even end up cracking 100 yards through the air? but it didn't matter. Like, I don't think he played a bad game. I mean, the Chiefs defense, I think, played really, really well, and they were certainly up to the task, and more so on both sides of the ball than they were in the Super Bowl. The score is more than indicative of that. And Philadelphia, seemingly, they're remaining the team to beat in the NFL, and if they're going to kind of do, because it's not like what Kansas City was doing last year, where like they were just doing what they needed to do to win the game. No, magic would literally happen in every single game, and they would just invent ways to win. Philadelphia is just very much taking care of business, right? That's all that it is. And I know maybe what I said a second ago, where it's like, Philadelphia is seemingly the team to beat. Maybe there are some Packers fans out there who, well, what about us? Yeah, sure. Philadelphia just won the Super Bowl, though. You know what I mean? So I think the two like measuring sticks right now, if you remove the context of everything and you throw the history books out and you're just looking at the teams on paper and what we're seeing on tape in these first 2 weeks, yes, it's very clearly Green Bay and Philadelphia, and those are the two teams, right? But I think the belt right now, it just has to go to Philadelphia. It's like, well, until you beat them, you know what I mean? I know that do the Packers and the Eagles play this year? They might. I think the Lions play the Eagles, and so just from a divisional, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't want to do a whole thing about that because I'm not totally sure. So, yeah, it wasn't that great of a game. It was just maybe fun just to see the two teams playing. I think is really all that it was, as like a spectacle. And yeah, I don't know. It was nice that at the 7 minutes into the game, we finally got to actually watch it. America, held hostage by Fox Sports, making us watch the extended coverage of the damn Cowboys-Giants game going into overtime. And so if you have access to Fox Deportes, then you could have watched the coverage, but I'm just done watching shit in Spanish. I'm done watching it in Spanish. When the United States men's team, the soccer team, plays friendlies, like the ones that they just played against Korea and Japan within the last week, right? I watched both of those on Peacock, but on Peacock, you can only watch them in Spanish. Now, soccer is like the one sport that I will watch in Spanish because when they score goal and they hold it for like 60 seconds flat, it just kind of builds to that moment and it pays off. They stick the landing every single time and it rules every single time. But they just talk. It's so fast. It's so fast. Like I listen to Spanish broadcasts of like even when I watch La Liga, right? Like if I'm watching damn Barcelona, Real Madrid, or fucking Mallorca or some bullshit like that, right? Villarreal, Valencia. How many more of these teams can I name? That's probably it off the top of my head. I don't know. Like I watch a broadcast and I'm like, oh, he just said team. And then 10 seconds go by. Oh, he just said player. And then 10 seconds. Oh, he just said blue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're saying. It's just every now and then I'm kind of like, oh, I heard what he just said there. And so I'm just, so I had to sit through, I say sit through Cowboys Giants like it was a bad game. It was happening concurrently with the Lions game. So I didn't get to see everything that was happening live, except for when they would cut to, like, I saw all of the Russell Wilson touchdowns. Good for Giants fans. I hope they don't trick themselves. He was just listen, it was bound to happen. Russell Wilson was bound to have one of those games. I think he had a game or two for the Steelers last year where it was like, whoa, Russell Wilson turning back the clock. Whoa, ladies, hold your wallets. Yeah, Brandon Aubrey, kicker for the Cowboys. Weapon. What was it, 64? 64 yards to send it to overtime. And honestly, it may have been good from like 75. That guy's a wagon. My buddy has him on his fantasy team. Said 22 points today in his league. I don't know if 22 is like, I don't know what his scoring system is. 22 points from a kicker. Jesus, I think he had more than Derrick Henry today. Is that true? Gee whiz. Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know. Frisky team, weird Giants team. I have no idea what to make of them. Yeah, seems like that was a good game. But okay, folks, the real meat and potatoes. I'm actually going to keep it pretty brief for the most part, I think. The Detroit Lions murdered the Bears. Murdered them. 52-21. Is that what the final was? 52 of them on Ben Johnson's head. How about that? Try that on for size. It's a one size fits all. By the way, I'll cut right to where is the chase and how do I cut to it? It's a one size fits all. 52 of them on the Bears. How's that for a bounce back? Listen, last week, that game sucked. Against the Packers, that game sucked. And we said, whatever, bro, it's week 1. You can throw the tape out right now, and it will never matter less for the rest of the season. Right now is when you get to throw the tape out. Next week against the Bears, that's week 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, the tape had been thrown out, and week 1 against the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions went 1-0. 52 of them things. How's that for a bounce back? Since, what is it, November of 2022? The Lions are 11-0 in games following a loss. How about that? And by the way, there wasn't that many of them last year. There were 2 in the regular season, and then there was 1, fatefully, very fatefully and infamously, there was 1 in the postseason, which was in the divisional round, the first game that the Lions played. I don't know why I'm doing this, Lions fans. We're up right now. Oh, okay, so we are good. See, I told you, man. I tried to be as level-headed as I could after that game, and it paid off. I've stuck the landing. I did it. Good for me. I said, this team doesn't stink. They don't stink. And they played like they stunk today, but they don't. They lost their coordinators, for sure. They did not lose the oil that makes this machine run, which is the players themselves. It's like the same guys, right? The core guys, especially on offense, it's the same guys. You lose Frank Ragnow, that stinks, brother. That stinks. But you supplement Frank Ragnow with Graham Glasgow, who's like been, you know what I mean? He's not a new guy. Like, he's been around. So, like, culturally, that, like, it, you know what I mean? So there's, like, whatever. And I think this game against the Bears, for whatever it is that they're going through, right? Well, the Lions didn't play down to them. They kicked the shit out of them. They murdered them. I mean, this game, like, it played close at the beginning. It was, 14-14. And then the final was 50. So what did they get outscored? What's the math? I'm not fucking Rain Man. What is that? 40. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. This shit's not real. But the Lions are 1-1. And what else? I was gonna say, what else could you ask for? Well, 2-0, of course. But I think the one thing that I'm really looking ahead here, Lions fans. I don't want to jump scare you guys, but the Lions schedule is brutal. Lions fans, have you been keeping up on this too? I've been meaning to do a segment about this for like a month now. And it just shows why, like, it's so imperative that they get off to a good start. Because there is still a world where they start the season like 1-5. Like, this was the game. Well, there's another one up here in just a second. So I'll include the games that they've already played going up to the bye week. This is the Lions' schedule this year. In Green Bay, home against the Bears, road against Baltimore next Monday, home against the Browns, on the road against Cincinnati, on the road against Kansas City, home against Tampa Bay. Then we have a bye week. Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Dog, this schedule is fucking brutal. Going up to the bye, again, I'll make this quick. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Chiefs, Bucks. Oh, I'm like the Drifter. Oh, scorn approaching. Gee whiz. Ravens on the road on Monday night. Shit. That Chiefs game you feel okay about right now. Like, oh, okay, that'll be it seems like it may come at a point in the season where the Chiefs are just primed for like the turnaround fuck you game. And you'd be worried that happens against you. You know what I mean? So put a pin in that. Joe Burrow, as of today, so the game on the road in Cincinnati, right before Kansas City, as of right now, Joe Burrow is not doing good. He's got some ligament damage, turf toe. Had an injury today. As of this taping, I mean, it only happened 4 hours ago. As of this taping, the timeline is unknown. So we'll put a pin in that. Maybe we'll be... who's their backup quarterback? Fucking AJ McCarron? I don't even know. I have no idea. Who's the Bengals backup quarterback? I have no idea. I had no idea. It's just we could be in scary hours pretty quick. But I think, to bring it back to what I said at the beginning and to just put a bow on this, because what else is there to say? The Bears suck. They're not good. This game was important because I think it showed us, hey, listen, if the play calling was night and day, it was so much better this week, right? Like, hey, it's still us. We're still the same guys. It was one game. We played a good team. The Packers are a good team. Right now, the best team in the NFC North, and despite the fact that, I don't know, I'm taping this in the middle of Sunday Night Football. Vikings were down 6-0 near the end of the first quarter when I started taping this. I don't know what to make of the Vikings, the game that they played against the Bears. J.J. McCarthy poops his pants for 3.5 quarters and then wins the game inexplicably. I don't know what to make of them. I'll catch the rest of this game when I'm done taping, so who knows what to make of them, right? The Bears, either they stink. Look, I'm not trying to be too wordy for the third damn time in this episode. Even though 2.5 of the teams are wild cards in the NFC North, it's probably the best division in football. And I don't know. I think what we saw from the Lions today is like, okay, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. And to take it back to what I said a second ago about the play calling, I think it really was. What did I say a second ago? Night and day. It really was. I mean, it's a damn miracle. What happens when you're actually when you're running the ball, you're doing it off of the edge, and you set Jameer off in space, and the route trees just felt so familiar, and you're getting Jared, and this specifically, you're getting Jared into more play action, and you're letting him move around, you're letting the line move around, and you're letting these routes develop, and it was refreshing to see the Lions performing the way that I was like, I know what's in there. I know you guys are going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay. I really do. It's impossible to ask them to go 15-2 again and to get the 1 seed. It's impossible to do that. But I think for whatever, I don't know how, I don't know. It's 2 weeks. I'm not going to read too much into it. What matters is they went 1-0 this week. Is there anything else in football I wanted to do? Did I watch any other NFL games? I don't know. I would love to know why is Minnesota and Atlanta on Sunday Night Football in week 2. If I had chocolate on this is from a crumble cookie. Has that been there the whole time? Oh, that's terrible. It's not even chocolate. It's red velvet. It was on my face the whole time. I thought I saw it earlier, and I was like, maybe that was just my mustache or something, and I just talked through it. Well, this is the Coping Hour, and we cover all the biggest stories, and we cover them from all angles, and when the host has food on his face, I don't know what that does to his credibility, but it does a little something, something. I tell you man, you talk about credibility. Oh, my God. Pablo Torre. You talk about the heater that he has been on. We discussed this very briefly, I don't know, it was maybe like a week and a half ago at this point, and we've kind of let this whole story fall to the wayside, mainly because the NFL came back, and then Charlie Kirk got fucking shot and murdered, and it just sort of took precedent, right? And so, sorry, Pablo, kind of got... My God, the information that has come out since the last time we talked about this Kawhi, was it aspiration? Is that what it's called? Steve Ballmer fucking money laundering? Is that what this is? A cap circumvention? That's what we're calling it? Oh my God. I mean, the amount of money at this point that has been, I don't know, is it owed or paid in some form? We're not talking about like a $28 million, $7 a year over a 4-year period as, contingent on the fact that you are still playing for the Clippers. We're not talking about that. I mean, we're talking about like $50, $60 million. I mean, the amount of money that apparently Kawhi has been promised or owed or paid from this company, it just keeps going up as Pablo Torre keeps digging more into this. And it really is so refreshing to see a guy break off from this like take machine media and to like, I don't know, do like real investigative journalism. I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool. And to try to make that like a mainstream form of content. I don't really know right now. Pablo Torre is, I wouldn't call him mainstream, but for people who like be online, like, yeah, they're familiar with him. And also, by the way, like people who watched ESPN for the last like 10, I don't know, how long was he on? Like Around the Horn? Like, I don't know, like he like be on ESPN. So like he has been a figure in this sports landscape for a really long time, right? And it's really cool to see him find his own little thing where really nobody else is doing it. I mean, the guy is essentially, I don't want to call him like the Andrew Callahan of of sports because they don't do the same thing at all. Like, I don't. Well, Andrew Callahan does do investigative journalism, but that's not like his whole thing. Like right now, that is what Pablo Torre is doing. And again, I just think not to beat a dead horse here and to just keep saying the same thing, but I just think it's really cool. And I think it's how do I say this? Is it cool or is it fucked up that Pablo is kind of the only one who's reporting all of this cap circumvention shit like seriously? Now, obviously, he's the one reporting it seriously. He's the only one trying to find anything out, and that's where I'm going with this. Is it's like everybody in the NBA right now is very acutely aware of this story, and that Pablo Torre's name is attached to it. And like specifically from ESPN, it's been very weird to see them kind of like back off of this story. And I really don't want to say this, but like cape for Steve Ballmer and like shill for the organization and for the brand. I don't know. I don't want to, I mean, this seems like such a hack thing to throw around, but like, I don't know. He's the 6th richest man in the world. Like, surely Steve Ballmer's greasing somebody here. You know what I mean? Why the hell, like 24 hours after this whole thing sort of came out, Steve Ballmer does like a 11 p.m. hit on SportsCenter with Ramona Shelburne. He does a one-on-one with her, like late night West Coast style sit-down interview with her where he's just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Just like says like a bunch of shit that Mark Cuban had sort of said is probably what happened. Mark Cuban, I really think he's just playbooking the shit out of this for him. He's not. I mean, that's probably not. That's another thing that's like way too easy to say. He's not. I don't know. Something weird's going on. Like the serious people won't touch this. You're hearing guys on ESPN radio be like, I can't believe Pablo reported this. Like, I would keep this to myself because if I report something like this, even if I'm right, I then lose any exclusivity with the parties involved, whether that be Steve Ballmer or like, what's the guy's name? Frank Lawrence. He was in the Pistons front office at one point. Frank Lawrence? That doesn't sound right, but it might be right. Frank Lawrence. A guy like Kawhi, like then you just lose access to them. Like I would never compromise that. And I would never report something like this. Crazy, wild shit. I don't want to say like I get what they're saying. I mean, I get what they're saying. But it's like, well, yeah, but that's your job, though. Like, that is for real. Like, your job is to report shit like that. I think, I don't know. I think maybe there are people in this world who have been sort of blinded by, I don't want to say the celebrity that comes with news breaking, but there are very much people in the sports world who are famous because they break news, and that's it. We all know who I'm talking about. Like, this is Shams Charania, this is Adrian Wojnarowski, this is Fabrizio Romano, like shit like that, right? We've talked ad nauseum about this, and we don't need to go into it again. I guess I'm just a little bit surprised at, again, just like nobody will touch it. All of the people who you have always sort of been like, you're the smart sports, like, I don't want to be like, you're the smart sports guy, but like when they're talking ball, like Zach Lowe, like I trust what you're saying. If I don't watch hoops for a month, I can listen to Zach Lowe for an hour, and I believe everything that he's saying, and I trust everything that he's saying. And if I choose to regurgitate every single take that he has in the episode, which he doesn't even like a take master. Like he's just really more analytical about the shit that, well, I guess he is sort of a take master. He's a damn writer. So, well, not really anymore, but you know what I mean? Like people like him, and I name a guy, throw a dart at a board. Like the people who you consider like the smart hoops guy, they're like not touching this. People aren't touching this. Which obviously where there's smoke, there's fire. And when people are just like afraid, I don't know if people are afraid to be wrong about this. I don't know if they're just like letting this play out. And Pablo has handled it very gracefully. And when we talked about this last, the most recent thing that we knew was that Pablo and Mark Cuban had agreed to do a podcast together and to actually talk about this. And we said like, hey, when that happens, we'll talk about it. Again, I've been meaning to talk about this. It's just been, I don't know, shit's been popping off. I just haven't had time. I watched it immediately when it came out. I watched the whole thing, which was kind of a whole runaround. It's an hour and a half. You really don't need to watch the full hour and a half. You can listen to 20 minutes of it. They just kind of keep going down the same rabbit holes, and it gets more and more nuanced, and there's more and more like quote unquote like information. You just learn more like side shit that like kind of, I don't know, you like sort of like anecdotal stuff. It's tricky. It's tricky because when these quotes are hitting social media of things that like Mark Cuban is saying in defense of Steve Ballmer, blatantly and I don't want to say flagrantly, but for lack of better phrasing, flagrantly in defense of Steve Ballmer, it's so easy for people to do this, and it's the only thing that people have clung to, which is like, oh, well, Mark Cuban defending a billionaire, no, nothing to see here, no surprise here. It's like, yeah, he's just defending one of his billionaire buddies. I really do think, like, in some way, two things can be true here. One, Mark Cuban is just like, hey, just don't look into why we underpaid Dirk for so long. Because this is clearly something. This is when we covered this immediately when it happened, and, you know, we just haven't talked about it since. One of the things that we said was, like, I just kind of think this is a thing that happens, and nobody just, like, we just don't know about it. I think that's one reason why, like, doesn't this feel like something that if other teams weren't guilty of, that they would be more mad at? You don't think it's a little weird that Daryl Morey hasn't, like, fired off a tweet, like a joke about this? Even something that, like, it's super layered and only, like, haha, if you know, you know. You know what I mean? It's weird that he hasn't. Maybe he has. I haven't seen it. Maybe he has. I don't know. Pat Riley, he's getting to a point where he's a little senile. He kind of just, like, be popping out and saying things sometimes. You put a microphone in front of that guy, he might say something crazy. I don't know. It's weird that he hasn't said anything. James Dolan, it's weird that he hasn't said anything. I wonder if that has anything to do with the most recent contract that Jalen Brunson signed. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking the question. If like, when the Astros cheated, everybody was fucking furious about it. They're cheating in different ways, but, like, you know what I mean? If this was something that was irregular, I think there would be, people would be furious. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It's somehow like, it's almost becoming a bigger story that it's not a bigger story. And I think it's strange. And then also, I don't mean the state of the damn league right now. A quote that made the rounds. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? A couple of days ago, Adam Silver at a podium was asked a question about, like, I don't remember. It was something to the effect of, like, hey, people have to pay a lot to watch these games, and, like, they're not that accessible, and blah, 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 blah. And Adam Silver's response was something to the effect of, like, well, it's a highlight league, so they can watch one of the highlight packages that we post on social media after the game. What? Huh? What? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It's not about, like, what improves the experience for the fans. It's like, Adam Silver's job is not to have your best interest in mind. It's just not. And it's something that I've just really wrestled with. I think the league is bad. I don't think it's a great league. I think right now, substantively, well, what do I mean by that? Because talent-wise, the talent in the league is amazing. It's the best it's literally ever been. It's not about that. I don't know what it is. I just don't think it takes itself seriously. I think if you power rank every league in America right now, Major League Baseball, the NHL, NFL, and the NBA, I think that it takes itself the least seriously. I think MLS would be below the NBA, to be fair. But I just think it's a goofball mirror image. And I'm not doing back in the 90s. I don't give a shit about the 90s. I wasn't watching that shit. I wasn't fucking alive. I was born in 1998. I was not watching that shit. I don't care about that. This is not about, like, a reflection to, like, oh, well, I remember when it was 2016. No, it's not about that at all. I just think it just feels so gimmicky. And in some way it's bled into all sports. Like, I don't know. I don't want to. Well, if I make the point I was about to make, which was this, like, Mr. Beastification, I was just going to use him as an example. You know, him at NBA All-Star Weekend, and which I didn't. Thank God I didn't watch the All-Star game, so all that shit was just completely. I didn't know what happened. I just saw people were mad about it, and then all of this stuff that just happened in the game in Brazil with the YouTube game and between the Chiefs and the Chargers. If I complain about that, then it just kind of sounds like, well, 27-year-old man is mad that he is not the targeted demographic for, like, gimmick X. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe that's all that it is. Maybe it's just like, I'm not a kid and that's not who this is for. You know what I mean? But so I can't say it's not taking itself seriously, because then I do kind of sound like an old man yelling at a cloud. Well, there you go. Talk myself through it. Well, it doesn't mean that I changed my fucking mind. Doesn't mean that I changed my mind. I don't think it takes itself seriously. I think this NBA Europe idea is a damn clown show. I think the guys who run these teams are clown shows. I think they're fucking sharks. Like more so than any other, again, than in any other league. These guys are con artists. That'll probably do it for ball, I think. What non-ball things you guys want to talk about today? Listen, let's just do the Charlie Kirk thing. Let's just do it. Cause I think in the last, how many is it? 4 days since Charlie Kirk was killed. In the last 4 or 5 days, the amount of conversations, like 20-minute long conversations that have started between my girlfriend and I, because we're not saying anything, and that maybe I'm like doing the dishes and she's like, I don't know, doing like making coffee or something. I don't know. And we're not saying anything to each other. And I just say to her, I can't believe his ass is fucking dead. And then we just start talking about it. Crazy. I don't even know, like, this is another one of those things. Since we talked about this the last episode of the Coping Hour, we spent a damn hour talking about this. And in the last couple of days, another instance of just information dump. Where I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, the emails that have poured in with reactions to the event, with reactions to the episode that we did about it, expressing their remorse or their empathy or their disdain. All these emails sort of spanning a very wide spectrum. And I think they mirror the reactions that we've seen around the country. Man, I got to tell you, people outside of America, I don't know, man, it's hard to explain this, what it's like done to the country. There is like a real, almost, I don't want to say palpable tension. The truth is, you know, because I was doing this mental exercise earlier and I was just people watching. I was looking at people outside playing tennis on tennis courts, playing soccer, and, you know, people doing all this stuff, you know, running around a track and stuff. And I say, if I talk about the social tension and how it's just, you know, very palpable is a good word here. But then I look outside and you just see people, and I'm like, you guys, there's no way you fucking don't know what happened, but like, there's a way that you're not affected by it at all. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say that. But like, when you're online, it feels like a very tense space, because this murder has reached people that didn't know who he was. And I think, man, that's been another sort of weird thing in my brain is, for me, and I think a good number of you out there, he has been part of your like public lexicon for a decade now. And things that he's said in the past and how reasons that he's become a topic of conversation, and how polarizing he's been, and how influential he has been for a like young conservative movement in the United States. You're very acutely aware of that. You're very acutely aware of his impact on the political state of the country, the whole country, for a decade. The fact that there are people who had no idea who he was, to me, just kind of goes to show, like, when we talk about monoculture and how, like, that shit just doesn't exist anymore, because, like, culture exists in so many different places digitally. And there are so many different subcultures to that. And, like, everybody has their own inside jokes. And the internet is so big that, like, if you go out of your way to have blinders on and to not consume any political content at all, you're never going to know about a guy like that. But I don't know. I just kind of thought, like, even if you, I'm just shocked at how many people really had zero idea. And then it was just maybe a reflection for me. Like, maybe I'm just too online, and maybe that's all that it is. But what's interesting is the people who didn't know who he was are the ones that are showing more empathy than literally anybody else, which makes sense, because all those people are seeing are, I mean, whatever you think about the guy, wild fucking, I mean, those images are wild, right? The average person doesn't watch another person die like that and not in a movie. You know what I mean? So that, I think culturally as a country, experiencing that, for somebody who, if you had no idea who he was, will invoke a certain reaction out of you. And then when you couple that with the fact that the natural response has been for most people to, like, if you're only watching news coverage, this is all that it's been. Now all you're seeing is pictures of him with his kids and all of these, like, I don't want to call them cherry-picked clips, but, like, you know what I mean? You're seeing all these clips of him, like, being, like, a normal person. They're like, oh, he was just a fucking... Look, again, I'm not trying to open this fucking can of worms again and litigate how people are supposed to feel about this shit. And I honestly tried to sort of just toe the line in the last episode and just let you guys get how you're feeling about this shit out. Because I had no idea what to say. I'm just shocked. I can't believe this. I cannot believe that this guy is dead. Crazy. And the levels of irony, man. I mean, at this point also, I've watched the video 4,000 times. 4,000 times. I've seen, I mean, I don't know. A lot of emails. A lot of emails have come in. There was one that I thought it invoked an interesting response. We talk about that. Out of this guy, Tristan. Tristan, potentially welcome back to the show, but welcome to the show. Subject line: do fathers need guns to protect their families? Hey Nick, Tristan here. Your last episode really got me thinking of how graphic gun videos can really influence your opinion on topics. As a father, hearing about violence on the news doesn't really affect me unless I watch graphic footage or if the situation involves children. Sometimes when I get high before bed, I get paranoid and think about what I would do if I was in that situation with my family. Like, what if someone broke into our home at night? What if someone shot up my local Walmart while we're shopping? God damn, brother. Well, you're high, so I guess this is a fair play. Fair play. It's a scary, like, talk about, like, scaring the hose. What's that guy over there in the corner thinking about? You're like, hey, guy. Someone, like, throws, like, a pizza box at you. Hey, guy, what are you thinking about? And you turn to them and your eyes are bloodshot to fuck. And you're like, what happens if somebody shoots up this room right now? What would we do? Does anybody have a fucking gun? Let's get back to the email. I know the odds of this happening to us to us are very low, but it does / can happen anywhere. During the day, such a serious email, and in the middle of sorry about that, brother. During the day, I don't give this much thought. I just tell myself that I'm confident enough to know how to react and protect my family. I just imagine scenarios where I turn into John Wick with a kitchen knife. Yeah, that's just guy stuff. It's just dude stuff. I don't really think about it with knives, I guess, to be honest. You know what I do? I don't think about killing a man. I think about zombies is what that's the context, which I think maybe is a little more healthy of a context to think about this in. Still violent, but it's a fictional thing, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, if I have like a cool stick, like a weapon, I'm just kind of like, how would I use this to, you know what I mean? To defend myself from a zombie. That's what I think about. So like the other day I was chopping onions and I literally was doing this mental exercise because I was using a new knife and there was like a little bit of a serrated part to it. And I was like, oh yeah, this would be crazy. As if I was killing a zombie right now, this would be so cool for that. Let's get back to the email. Again, very serious email. However, I don't own a gun. I've never shot one before because they honestly scare me. But as I get older, the more I tell myself that I need to protect my home from an intruder. I feel kind of silly giving this so much thought, especially since I live in a small city. As a Chicago resident, I'm sure you're very aware of your surroundings when you're out in public with your family. But is this something you ever think about? In this country, do you really need a gun to feel safe enough to protect your family? Sincerely, Tristan. You say in Chicago, very aware of your surroundings. Is this something we think about? Yeah, since we moved to where we live now, which was a little under a year and a half. It was about a year and a half ago, give or take, a little under. I would say every 45 to 60 days since we've moved here, something will happen that we're like, we should get a blammer. We gotta get a damn man remover. I can't fucking do this anymore. It's happened. It's happened a good number of times. I couldn't off the top of my head tell you. I don't remember. One of them was last year, like a week before Thanksgiving. Our Kia got broken into for like the 5th time. but it got broken into. We pay for a damn parking spot in like a lot that has security, and our car got fucking broken into. Okay. HOA had nothing to say about that. Oh, okay. So what are we paying this HOA for if the security doesn't work? Oh, okay. Okay. And that's just the thing. That's just a problem with Kias. People can plug in a damn USB and steal the damn car. It's a whole thing and blah, 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 blah. So we ended up having to get a new car. But the way that they broke into it was very, very violent. And they ripped apart the steering column. And again, that had happened to that car for like the 4th or 5th time. And we were just fucking sick of it. So we upgraded to the Mazda CX-5 on Thanksgiving last year. Picked up the car. That shook us a little bit just because we're like, damn, so it doesn't matter even if we pay for a parking spot and a security in a lot that has private security, we could still get our car broken into. That just rattled us because, we're parent at the time. Roman was only like, I don't know, like 6-7 months old, and so a new parent, we were still all fucking up in arms about that. But also getting your car broken into sucks, and yeah, man, if I had a damn man remover. Other than that, something happens every now and then that just kind of just makes us a little uneasy. And then there's also the piece of you that's like, well, everybody else has one. Everybody else has one. I hate that mindset though. I hate looking at it that way because I don't want one, bro. I don't want one. I think we'll get one at some point. I know that we will. At some point, something will happen where it just makes us feel infinitely safer. For one reason or another, even if it's in a safe the entire time and we like never even see it. You know what I mean? Like we buy it and then it's just kind of like in a safe. I don't know. I believe we'll get to that some point someday. But that like, well, everybody else is armed, so I might as well have one too. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's good logic if shit's going to start popping off. If like political figures are going to start getting fucking murdered. It's a crazy video. Such a crazy video. I don't know, man. The subject line of this is interesting. Does a father need a look? I don't want to nitpick it. You know what I'm going to say to that. I'm going to say that because if we had a gun, the truth is Maddie's probably the one that would want to start blamming more than me. We have someone in our life that I know that would. I don't want to say train us to be man removers. I need to stop saying that. I feel like government surveillance is probably at an all-time high right now. I don't want to keep talking about man removers. I tell you what, this alleged shooter, this guy that they seemingly picked up off the fucking street, what's his name? Tyler Robinson, this 22-year-old kid that they're saying killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, apparently he was talking about it in Discord after the fact. It's impossible right now to believe information that you're reading about this. Because you're seeing any given media outlet. Like, okay, so how did this start? You talk about, to take this back to the beginning, because honestly, I kind of sidetracked myself with that email. Kind of a weird place to put the email. Well, that was my fault, though. I got it, and honestly, I wasn't even done responding to the email, but I'm on to something else at this point. Sorry about that, Tristan. The days following the shooting and trying to find this guy, right? Trying to locate him. We went from, we got a guy to, we let him go. We questioned him and he was free to go. To, we got a guy and then we questioned him and we're free to go. And then like 12 hours later, they're like, they released the images. They released the images of this guy, right? And then immediately after that, they're like, we have video, but we're not going to release it to the public until it's absolutely necessary because we have faith in our like recognition software. So it's like, okay. Dog, it was an hour later that they released the footage. And they're like, have you seen this man? And it's this kid walking around in dark clothing. And I'm like, okay, so in an hour, you guys went from, we feel pretty good about this to, fuck, we got no clue where this guy is. We got no clue where this guy is. Right. And then just like seemingly overnight, they're like, oh, yeah, we got him. By the way, we got him. Yep. Oh, hey. Oh, you guys didn't hear? We got him. Trump just kind of like offhandedly says it at a press conference early in the morning. Oh, and yeah, I believe we have him detained. I believe the suspect is in custody. What? How the fuck did you find him? Trump was like, someone very close to him reached out. Yeah, his dad. His dad reached out. Okay, that's weird. So the first story was his dad ratted on him. And then the second story was, no, it was actually a family friend. It was a pastor who was told about it. And it was some comments were made in passing. And then the pastor called the police on behalf of the family. And then there was a different story where it was like, this is brand new. This is as of the day I'm taping this. This is a news story, which is like only being like the fucking Hindu Star Times and the Daily Beast are reporting that this kid's trans roommate was actually the one that snitched and has been very cooperative with the police. Okay. Another update happened this afternoon. Apparently this kid also, quote unquote, not being cooperative with the police. I would also not be cooperating with the police if they just picked me up off of the street and were like, hey, we're going to frame you. Just let it happen. I don't know. They're saying this kid was in Discord talking to his buddies like, hey, I heard the shooter looks like me and talks like me and sounds like me and looks like me and smells like me, but it's not me. He's just trying to make me look bad. What? The fucking like FBI was like, yeah, this was the first story. They were like, oh yeah, his dad was like, yeah, my son told me he killed Charlie Kirk. And then told me how he got up on the roof. And then told me when he was done on the roof that he put the rifle in a towel and that he put it in the woods. And that is substantiated by our findings. That is where we found the gun, and it was in a towel and it was in the woods. And then after that, he said that he went home and then and they're like, basically perfectly painting the picture of all of the information that we already fucking had and just packaging it like the dad just, you get what I'm saying here? We hypothesized in the last episode that parallel construction was about to happen. I think this is they did a way more bang up job. That's not the right way to say it. It's a very shoddy job, very shoddy craftsmanship here by intelligence agencies to try to craft a narrative. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. And I gotta tell you, it is of no surprise because the people who are literally in charge of this fucking investigation are podcasters. For real. For real. Like the biggest and most polarizing and most high profile murder that this country has seen in 60 years? 60 years. I don't want to be like since MLK and then there's connective tissue between MLK and Charlie Kirk. I'm not Michael Porter Jr. I don't want to do that. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like this just goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I cannot believe how big this is. I really can't. But again, that also goes back to something we talked about in the last episode, which is that's just about like people aren't used to seeing images this grisly. And so when they do, it again invokes everybody now reaction. Right? And so people who didn't know who he was just see this guy get fucking dumpstered. Did you guys see the video of the guy stealing all of his loot? You guys see that video? The guy who Charlie Kirk is dead on the ground. At that point, I think they had already gotten him in the car, actually. And the guy who just walks up to the table and starts like throwing MAGA hats into the crowd. Fuck yeah. The cop runs over and he's like, get the fuck out of here, which is probably that's the right thing to do. So it's a very respectful thing to do. But I just love the resourcefulness of that guy to be like, this is an important hat. Suddenly, this is a way more valuable hat. I don't know. Man, I got to tell you, I cannot believe it. I can't believe he's gone. And if you want another damn thing that's hard to keep track of in this whole story, you go back to the very beginning of this. The fucking Wall Street Journal ran with this. I couldn't believe it. I was sick to my stomach. I don't know why. Listen, the damn, not the New York Post, what am I trying to say, man? The New York Times, at this point, I've given up. I gave up on the New York Times years ago after I was let go, after I was unceremoniously terminated as my role as a podcaster for the New York Times, as a contractor for The Athletic, but I was getting checks from the New York Times as I've sworn off the New York Times. But the damn Wall Street Journal, I thought there was some integrity there. But then they ran with this lie. Steven Crowder, the next day, was like, I have a report here that says there are inscriptions on the bullet, and they say trans people rule and conservatives suck, and I'm gonna kill them. Basically just a bunch of shit like that. The Wall Street Journal published that shit. Because, like, the right was going with it. That was just, like, I think people were like, because everybody, oh my God, people fucking could not wait to figure out what the guy looked like who did this. I don't know that we know yet. I don't, the picture of this character that they've shown us, I have no idea. I haven't, by the way, seen anything about, like, so was he, like, fucking what, like, JROTC? What is it? Was he like that? Like, was he, you know what I mean? Like, has he been shooting, like, his whole life? Like, has that piece of this been explained yet? I don't know. People could not wait to figure out because it just mattered so much for them. The identity politics, which, again, it did matter narratively because it would have told us a lot about where this was going to go. I don't fucking know where this is going to go. Because now you're hearing all the shit. Well, just to put a bow on that. Yeah, I don't know, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world were like, oh, yeah, he fucking, it was a bunch of, he had a trans manifesto. It's like, this is what makes parallel construction so easy. Because people's brains are so fucking, like, chimp-brained, chimp-wired, chimp-pilled, and chimp-coded that, like, all they're looking for when shit like this happens is like, they know, like, how do I say this? It's like the government knows formulaically what people want. They want bullets that have inscriptions on them. They want, obviously, a motive that is, like, spicy and juicy and that their identity politics will, you know. And then also third, and this is the biggest one, the M word, a manifesto. People need manifestos for these, like, massive crimes. People need, like, this super intricate thing. People need to be able to make, like, fucking docuseries about this shit. And so if I'm the federal fucking government, you stage one of these events, all I have to do is... And let me tell you, if the government, whether of foreign or domestic descent, if a government agency was behind the murder of Charlie Kirk, the idea that one of those agents of the CIA, of the Mossad, who knows, or maybe it was literally just this kid. Maybe what they're telling us, maybe what they're selling us is exactly what it is, right? But let's assume, for the sake of this, that it was an intelligence agency that had to inscribe on the bullet, and this is confirmed, this is real. If you read this, you're gay, LMAO. Funniest shit in the world. That's so funny. That's hilarious. The fact that the governor of Utah read that into a microphone during a press conference is the funniest shit in the world. The fact that the FBI has read that into a microphone on camera is the funniest shit in the world. And so just imagine if you're working in a base out of fucking Langley, and your job for the day is to just, like, carve wild shit. Like, ooh, officer, you're so thick today. Like, you know what? You're so thick with it today, officer. You just, like, carve, like, weird shit into bullets. That's, like, your whole day. And one of these, the one that also is great is, what was the one? So there was one that was, like, a nod to, like, furry sex, which is another funny one to think of an intelligence agency having to do on a bullet. One of them was, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. Also inscribed on a bullet was it Ciao Bella? That's the damn, it's like the resistance song that the Italians sung when they were killing Nazis. And then to go with that, hand in hand, was one that said, carved into the bullet was, hey, fascist! Exclamation. Catch! Very funny. I don't know where I'm at with it yet. I don't know. Like, from the conspiracy perspective. Listen, I know about all of it. All right, I don't want to, like, deter or discourage emails introducing me to conspiracies. I'm telling you, man, nothing is going to consume me like this will. I don't know how long. This just melted my brain that this guy's dead. Melted my brain, completely fried. Every piece of information that comes out about this, I am on top of. And so I know about there's conspiracies about, like, these two guys who immediately after the shooting, one of them was an old guy. People thought that he was, like, causing a diversion because he, like, yanked his pants down and was like, and I do it again too. And so everybody was like, oh, he's the shooter. And so the cops ran over to him, and they were spending time going after this guy, not the guy who actually did it. And then there was a different guy who was like walking around campus with a fucking pellet gun. And so people have been like, oh, so those were 2 diversions, to let the actual guy get away. And then people focusing on this. It's an airport like 20, 30 minutes away from the university, I guess. People focusing on a private jet that departed 30 minutes after. 30 minutes after the shooting happened. People are like, oh, he's back in Israel by now. Matter of fact, he's probably back in Israel by now. Back in Jerusalem. That floated around for a while. People putting clips out about, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe he was saying some stuff that was getting a little too close. I don't know. There was a guy, another one of those like right wing, like insano guys, who tweeted like a month ago. He was like, I know secondhand that Charlie Kirk has said that he, in some form, in so many words, is fearful that Israel could kill him. He tweeted that a month ago. Again, I don't have his name in front of me. He's just one of those fucking shills, one of those grifters. I don't know. Could this have been Israel? It is weird. What I do think is weird is that, like, the order of operations in terms of, like, people who, like, tweeted about this with, like, substantial breaking news. I don't know. The president of the United States broke the news that Charlie Kirk was dead. Pretty fucking wild. It does make sense. I don't need to connect that. I can connect that dot in a very reasonable way that is not conspiracy pilled at all. Which is just that, like, Charlie Kirk and Trump had an existing relationship. Charlie Kirk was instrumental in the election of Donald Trump happening twice. And I'm sure that Charlie Kirk also means a lot to not just Trump himself, Barron Trump, and the entire Trump family. So, like, yes, the influence that he had for the young conservative movement. Whatever. I get it. I can understand why he would, but it's fucking weird. And then immediately, Benjamin Netanyahu just like had a tweet loaded. And then, like, in his first comments about it, like, blamed it on a Muslim. We didn't even know anything yet. Which was another weird thing that happened. Like, you talk about people, like, really just, like, foaming at the mouth to find out what the guy looked like who did this, right? Fucking, like, Fox was just immediately, like, they were just like, it's a trans person. It's weird to see so many people jump to a conclusion. Jump to a conclusion. My theory for the first few days until we actually, like, knew for sure, I thought it was accelerationists. Because those dudes, you talk about, like, in the grand scheme of things, Charlie Kirk was, like, the good guy. In terms of, like, how do I say this? Because the alternative to him, like, motherfuckers think that Charlie Kirk was, like, a real-life Nazi. No, he just thought, like, some pretty wild shit. And, again, I'm not trying to do the thing where I'm like, well, because he said that eugenics is cool. He deserves to get shot in the neck and like a Kool-Aid jammer. I'm not trying to do all that shit. I'm just saying, bro, like, there are people. He beefed with, like, real Nazis. The real Nazis. He beefed with them because the Nazis said that he was pussy. Nazis said, like, Nick Fuentes and his boys, what are they called? Groypers? Is that how you say it? Groypers? Groypers? I've never heard anybody say it out loud. I just know, like, I just know it in writing. You know what I mean? Dog, Nick Fuentes, these are, like, white nationalists, Christian nationalists. These guys are fucking wild. Wild. Nick Fuentes, also one of those guys, I needed to know his reaction to it. So he put out, like, an hour-long show. I listened to the first, like, 10-ish minutes of it before I was kind of like, okay, I get where you're going with this. Because I was like, is he going to go, like, piss on his grave? Like a real Nazi being like, fuck you, Charlie Kirk. We've hated each other for years, and fuck you. Which was funny to hear Nick Fuentes be like, straight up, I fucking hated this guy, and we didn't get along, and then there's blah, 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 blah. It was just funny that he couldn't fucking help himself, and he just had to be like, I think it's, how do I say this? It doesn't matter. I'm only saying this to say, the people who are actually in the, like, real life alt-right in America, those fuckers are wild. Real paramilitary, like Pacific Northwest, Idaho. Those guys are fucking crazy. I feel like I bring this up all the time and I never get to the bottom of it. Years and years and years ago, some of you guys will remember this. Either in Oregon or Washington. It might have been Idaho. I think it was Oregon or Washington, though. One of these far-right militias, like, held up a mail carrier. Is that what it was? They had, like, a compound, and the guy was just, like, delivering mail, and they just, like, brought him inside, and we're like, we're going to kill him unless you, like, make us the president. I don't remember what it was. But that was like a standoff that happened for a few days, and then they like ran out of food, or I clearly don't remember any of it, other than that was the thing that happened. These guys are wild, and they don't give a shit about the government. They don't give a shit about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not right enough for them. Charlie Kirk was not right enough for them. Charlie Kirk was a fucking centrist to these guys, you know? And like they thrive on the idea of, again, they're called accelerationists. So it's accelerating the downfall of society, right? So it's like creating black swan events and creating. There's this guy who like was undercover as an FBI agent, and he talks about a case that he did, like infiltrating one of these, you know, far right accelerationist groups, and their plan was to go to a gun show and just start popping off rounds. Is the way that I think he said it. Because when you're at one of those shows, people are just going to start blasting all over the place, and then a bunch of motherfuckers are going to get killed, and you just, shit like that, right? You destabilize society, and so I just thought, because Charlie Kirk had recent, and I'm saying, this is such a long-winded way to talk about something that, like, I don't know, like, clearly I don't think this is going to be the case. Well, I don't know. I really don't know, so I'll just keep saying it. I really don't know. So my logic was just like, I don't know. Charlie Kirk was just for real beefing with the Nazis because they're like, what Nick Fuentes said to Charlie Kirk within the last calendar year was like, well, no, this was like way more recent than that. Like this fucking summer, Nick Fuentes said to Charlie Kirk that he's mad at Donald Trump because he's doing Jewish fascism, not white fascism. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. And Charlie Kirk was like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. These guys are wild. Wild. And I'm lumping two, like, groups of people together, like Groypers and fucking, which sounds like such, sounds so, like, how am I talking about, like, a political affiliation? Groypers. I'm not really lumping them together in with accelerationists, but I don't know. In the America's political spectrum, it's Compass. They're probably about as close. I don't know who the fuck this. The damn FBI invented a guy. I think that's what it is. I think they just invented a guy. Listen, the Luigi Mangione shit, the way that it went down was really weird, and I still have a lot of questions about it and like how he got caught and like. But at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, like, I guess it was just kind of weird. And maybe you just were at a McDonald's and maybe there was just like an employee who was like, I'm going to fucking snitch and be the worst. I don't know. They probably got a big reward for it. I don't know. That was another thing. If you had any information on this kid that killed Charlie Kirk, you got like, what was it, 100 bands? Is that what it was? $100,000, 100 G's, 100 smackaroonies. 100,000 smackaroonies. How much is a smackaroonie? I think a smackaroonie is one. If I give you 10 smackaroonies, that's $10. Yeah, smackaroonie is one. Where the fuck was I going? Shit. I want to get back to that. What was I saying? Sorry, I'm messing with my watch too. I'm sorry. I'm sure throwing shit all over the place. I don't know. This totally destroyed the momentum of this episode. Got in my own head about it. I don't know who killed him, bro. I don't think it was his kid though. I can't believe he's dead. And we're gonna keep talking about this. This is a crazy deal. I mean, the Packers got in trouble because they did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. The Yankees did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. We got an email. Honestly, I don't remember if I flagged it, but I really wanted to. Ooh, Lev just sent in an email 2 minutes ago. Lev just sent in an email. But it's about fantasy basketball and Anthony Davis. Brother, we're talking about something so metal, right? Not metal. That's not the right word. Lev, I don't know if we have time for a goofball email right now, but I'll make sure I read this in the next episode. Oh, I don't want to lose this. Oh, here it is. And this is a fun way to end the show, I guess. This is from Aiden. The subject line is MAGA Jared. The bat signal has gone up for MAGA Jared. Aiden, what's up, brother? Howdy, partner. I'm sure you already know, but I just wanted to send this email to say that you must read and discuss whatever is in the email that MAGA Jared is inevitably going to send to you about Charlie Kirk on the show. Personally, I'd also like to hear more about what you think about the whole situation now that there's been some aftermath. Yeah, I think I've done a pretty decent job of that, so I'll just skip ahead a little bit. You said, I'm Canadian, so maybe I'm a bit out of touch on this, but I didn't think this would be as big of a deal as it has seemingly become. I knew it'd be big, but not this big. Feels weird to say, but I can't believe how many people seemingly felt positively about this guy. Were they only seeing good things that I wasn't seeing, and I was only seeing bad things that they weren't seeing somehow? Or are they also just blatant Nazis? I really can't believe it. Hopefully just a very vocal minority, but still, it's scary, honestly, even for me all the way up here. And this part right here is why I was reading the email in the first place. Also, literally didn't see anything about the 9/11 anniversary this year. No posts, no nothing, just radio silence. There's no shot that was because of this fucking dead guy, right? Right? Aiden, thank you for the email. So yeah, man, Charlie Kirk getting killed the day before 9/11 really fucked up the news coverage for sure. For sure. Because I've had the news on nonstop. Like, outside of watching football and soccer all weekend, like, I've only, like, the news is on. If ball isn't on, the news is on. And I'm watching all of them. I got fucking Al Jazeera, Reuters, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, damn C-SPAN. I'm good. Name it. All the different Newsmax. I'm watching all of them. I want to know what everybody is saying. And did people forget about 9/11 this year? Well, yeah. Yeah, I think they did. So I say the thing about watching all these news stations. Well, I said that to say, so I can confirm to you, everybody did do at least an hour of, like, throwback packages that they were airing the day of the attacks, or, they're interviewing survivors, blah, 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 right? Everybody did do it. I'm sure the History Channel probably showed the same documentaries on loop all day, the ones that they've always shown for the last 25 years, 24 years. But yeah, I mean, this really did take precedent because they didn't know where the shooter was. I still don't think they do. They don't know where his ass is. What a shot. What a crazy shot. I cannot believe he's dead. I think it sucks. Honestly, what I think sucks is how bummed people are who were completely detached from this as a reality. And what I mean by that is like for my sister, for example, I was on the phone with her earlier. It was yesterday. And she was calling me about, she had a question about the Polaroid camera that she has for her girls, for her kids. And so I was going through that, and, a quick phone call. I go, hey, before we get off the phone, I go, did you know who Charlie Kirk was? She goes, Nick, I had no idea, but now I'm seeing all these videos, and now I'm so mad, and blah, 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 blah. Fascinating to me, the reaction from everybody that didn't know who he was, right? And the internet that is. And listen, I've really tried to take a lot of the emails that some of you guys have sent to heart, honestly. I disagreed with, like, all of them that were, like, not on the same page with how I am feeling about all of this. But I want you all to know, if you sent in, like, not a mean email, but, like, one where you, like, were kind of like, hey, fuck you a little bit, I want you to know I read it and I really tried to, like, understand that, like, no, dog, not everybody that liked Charlie Kirk was a fucking insane fucking fascist. No, they weren't. They really weren't. But, like, I don't mean to sound like a pushing my fucking monocle wearing ass up. I've butchered that. I don't want to sound like an asshole wearing a fucking monocle. And it's like, well, there's too much nuance for this conversation. No, I just think people are so entrenched because they saw something so fucking horrible that like it's impossible for people to like, it's hard to, I don't know how to make the point. There are so many different internets that people exist on, right? And the algorithm that you curate for yourself. It is easy to feel one way or another about a person just like based on what comes up in your algorithm, right? And so like if all you're seeing are these Charlie Kirk videos where he's like hugging babies and like kissing not just his kids, but like I saw a video earlier today where he was like there was a mom who came up to ask a question in front of a microphone and she was like fucking breastfeeding. And he was like, wow, what a beautiful family. What a beautiful family. And shit like that. And people are like, oh my God, like gone too soon with like dead rose emojis and like seagull emojis or whatever the fuck. And so like when you just see a bunch of that shit, like especially if you don't know who he is, yeah, you're going to be like that's what the algorithm is funneling right now. And so yeah, naturally you're going to be like, fuck, like this is fucked up. This is a horrible thing that happened, right? But then also at the same time, like if you are on an internet of somebody who is like otherwise getting like anti-Trump shit, you know what I mean? You're going to see a lot of the videos of the quote circulating where he's like, well, I think gun deaths are a necessary statistic in order to, maintain the Second Amendment or whatever the fuck. Right? Name a thing. Like that's what... And so it's just so interesting, the pictures that are being painted for people that didn't know who he was and have not consumed him for most of his like professional and very public career. And that's just a wild guy to die the way that he did. Wild. And it didn't escape sports broadcasts. I mean, I talked about the Packers game and the Yankees game, but even watching like Big Noon Kickoff, and like Joel Klatt going on this whole, he had like a soapbox moment where he's like, where he doesn't mention it explicitly, but obviously it's in the front of everybody's minds, and seemingly at least. And he's like, in light of events, I just wish that, we could all come together and blah, 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 blah. And I guess maybe it just rubs me the wrong way when you're hearing so many people talk about like, like there's no place for political violence in America and like for such an unnecessary act of violence. Like there's no place for it in America. And maybe I'm being nitpicky because, like, obviously I know what you're saying if you say something like that, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, but there is, though. Like, that is the environment, socially and politically, that has been shepherded, that has been harbored for the last 10 years. This is what the environment has become, right? Charlie Kirk wasn't this, like, I don't want to say it was it wasn't this Archduke Ferdinand moment. I don't know. I don't think it is. The truth is, I think we made a joke or two about this in the last episode. Like, I don't think the next thing that happens is like AOC dead in like a New York fucking sewer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's like Hassan Piker getting whacked. I just don't think it's anything like that. But I was also the same guy that, like, I knew when this happened, it was a fucking huge deal, like, for me, just as somebody who, again, for the millionth time, like, has known who he is. And again, a lot of you out there, like, yes, to some people, this was going to be a huge deal. I guess I was naive to how much it would explode. And that, like, I don't want to say globally people are talking about this, but, like, yeah, there have been candlelight vigils. There was one in Madrid and there was one in London. And, I'm sure in some of these little pockets of, I'm sure there was fucking 100 of them in Romania. There's a candlelight village. I was on Facebook earlier today. Man, candlelight village in the little town that I'm from and every neighboring town over the next few days or has already happened. I mean, people are affected by this, which again, I think just goes back to the fact that people saw it happen. Headline, Charlie Kirk killed. Shocking. accompanied by a video, it's nationally traumatic for people and will stick with people in a way that is hard to describe. Because even though I've talked about it, I don't know, for 40 damn minutes at this point, and we talked about it for an hour in the last episode, crazy. But I tell you what, it's the dumbest bitch that you've ever met in your life who has the most to say about this, is what I've found. The worst person that you went to high school with is 3 Instagram stories deep saying the craziest shit you've ever heard in your life because of this. And I don't know what that means, but we will be monitoring this, folks. Spotify, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to ask you another Charlie Kirk question. Hey, did your team win in the NFL this week? Or if you're in the Premier League, did your team win this week? If you're a City fan, we won. Not we. Whoa. Y'all won. City won. Leicester drew. All things considered, they were playing with 10 men for like 70 minutes, so it was fine. Annoying game, but points are points. When the deduction hits, it's something. Would have liked to win, but again, all things considered, a draw was good. That's fine. Oliver Skip is literally the worst player in Europe. Donnarumma's debut for City. Cannot believe he's there. Cannot believe he's a citizen. Cannot believe it. Good little tune-up game. Nothing too serious against United. Glory, Man United. Glory, Man United. What other games did I watch? I didn't a lot actually that I'm not thinking. I watched so many of the games over the international break. Spain, not Moldova. Who is it? Come on. Not Andorra. Who is it? Come on. Who did Norway Holland had 5 goals. Who was it? Who are they? Andorra. I swear to God it was Andorra. Was it Moldova? I don't remember who it was. Spain, France, Ukraine, Iceland, the United States. I watched both their games against Korea and against Japan. I watched everybody, bro. I'd be watching ball. I'd be ball watching. I love ball. I love my kid. I love my girlfriend. And I fucking love ball. Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, sure leave a like, subscribe. Also comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful.